I could bring her back to the senses. Get right into the sun. Maybe have a little fun on the side. On the side.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unprofessional Fishing with Fish on Bass Anglers. We are a fishing club out of Maryland. My name is Adam Simpson. I've been a member of Fish on Bass Angler since 2018. I'm currently the social media officer. I also help with photography, some of the website stuff, which Logan also does, and a lot of coordination with getting our name out there and growing the club in this area, in this region. We're in the Tycoon Media Lounge here. Tycoon is one of the owners of the building. And the reason that we're doing this is that kind of off hours, what you do when you get done with your daily job. I think about fishing. I'm sure you guys do too. So,
Yep.
I got Logan Summers here today. Logan has been a member since 2001, I believe. Are you a founding member? Or
No, I'm not a founding member.
Okay.
It was a couple years before I came in, but
Okay.
long time.
What year did it start? If you were 2001.
It was 99 was the first season
Okay.
of the club, and so it was pretty small back then. And then I found it in 2001.
Okay. Cool. And you're also the webmaster.
Yeah. Currently, I'm the webmaster. I've worn a lot of hats in the club. But yeah, currently I do the website. So you and I work together a lot, putting content up there. It's fishonbassanglers.com. I think it's the best club website out there.
It is pretty good. I mean, comparably, it's a good website.
Now I'm not a web designer. So anybody who is will be like, wow, this needs work.
Yeah.
But, we don't get paid for these volunteer positions, so we do the best we can.
Well, that's the whole reason that we're calling this Unprofessional Fishing again, is because nobody's a professional at any of this.
Right.
We're just doing the best we can and making it work. So that's half the fun part too.
Yeah.
Figuring it out as you go. You are 6-time Angler of the Year. You are a Classic champion, and you are also on the Maryland Black Bass Committee. Maryland Black Bass Advisory Committee, right?
Yep.
So what do you do on that committee?
So the Black Bass Advisory Committee is it's like a small group of anglers that's convened by the Department of Natural Resources, and it's really like a stakeholder group specifically for bass fishing in Maryland. And so when Department of Natural Resources is scoping changes or looking at concerns or trying to find things going on with bass fishing tournaments, stuff like that, they have this panel of Maryland bass anglers that they can bounce ideas off of, take advice from. It's a neat group because it's really their only touch point with actual guys that are like us, who aren't, we're not biologists. We don't do it as our day jobs, but we're the guys that are out there every day. We see everything firsthand. And
Sure.
So, that perspective, it's nice that the DNR looks for that perspective when they're looking at, regulatory changes and things like that, because a lot of them don't, right? And they're kind of, you're sequestered in their, not to say that none of, I'm sure plenty of them fish on their own too, but, they might have some tunnel vision with their scientific background and, there's only a handful of them versus there's, thousands of guys like us. So
Sure. And full-time job during the week, you are?
I work in IT. I'm a project manager. So I send a lot of emails and I daydream about fishing.
And there you go.
No, when I was younger, I realized that I just wanted to fish, and there's not much money to be made in fishing. So I decided on a career path that would open that opportunity up for me outside of work hours. So
You don't work to work because you like work.
Right.
You work to be able to go fishing.
Right. Yeah. I have a job so that I can
Yeah.
to go fishing.
Get away on the weekends and do
Yeah. No, I got a wife and 2 kids too, and so we're busy.
Yeah. And your son Wyatt fished a tournament with us this year, right? That was
Yeah.
his first one.
Yeah, I was lucky. I had an open boat. Tournament director let me bring a guest, so he fished the whole day with me. And it was July, so it was hot. He was a trooper, but he loved it. He caught a couple fish, got to weigh him in. That was really cool. I happened to, I didn't do really well, but I did good enough to where, I was in the top half of the stand. So that was fun. That was like
show him how it's done.
right. That was probably the most fun I had at a tournament this year.
That's cool.
Even though I wasn't contending to win or anything, it was real fun to bag my fish and bag his fish and go through the weigh-in line together. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of growing the club and getting more people into it, I mean, you're starting him young enough.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going
to have the opportunity to grow.
he's got a ways before he'll be eligible to be a member, but I'm hopeful that he sticks with it.
Yeah.
And, it's, you don't want to force him into it or whatever, but keep encouraging him. If he sticks with it, then yeah, we'll see him in a few years.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
there you go. Well, he'll have a boat when you want to get rid of yours, right?
yeah, that's, no, he's already talking about boats, and I'm saying, yeah, I think we could fit another boat or two in the garage.
There you go.
On the side of the house, and my wife is not happy about that, but
Oh, that's all good.
yeah.
And then we have Nick, Mr. Nick Koutsos. You've been a member since 2022.
Yep.
So you're more recent just to FOBA, not recent to fishing because you've been doing it for a while. But you are former club secretary. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you became an officer pretty quickly in the club. You were fishing kind of other tournaments before FOBA.
Yeah.
Just
Potomac
local
teams, border battle, just here and there Wednesday nighters on pretty much anything Potomac. At some point I did it back when it was LAPR. I did that, and then went to school, took a break, came back. It was something different. Did that for a while. So all Potomac, not much else.
Yeah. Cool. So you know the Potomac well, and we fish it a few
Not
times.
like those guys, but
Yeah,
there's
plenty of
better
guys.
your average guy.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys that know it better than us. And full-time job for you. What do you do when you're not fishing?
Oh, what day of the week is it?
Today's Friday, so
Today was computer work. I sell used cars, substitute teach, do a little property management. I have no idea what I'm going to do when I wake up in the morning, and then I get a phone call and do it. So here we are.
I shouldn't have said full-time job. I should have said lots of other little jobs.
Yeah, like 10 part-time jobs.
There you go. And you switched to a boater this year. So you were a co-angler like me. When I joined the club, I was a co-angler as well, which means you ride on somebody else's boat that has more money than you or resources or whatever. But you switched to boater this year. So you bought a boat and fished the whole season as a boater, right?
Yeah, it kind of lined up for me. When I joined the club, I had just sold my boat. So then it was like, what am I going to do this year? And I'd known about the club for a while, and it's like, this is the time. I don't have a boat. They have a co-angler division. Here we are. I don't really have an excuse of like, oh, well, they fish Anna, they fish here. I don't know any of those places. I'm not going to. All right, well, I don't have a boat, so I can't fish. So here we go. Let me join this club. Don't know anybody, have no clue about it. Saw Logan post on a forum, and I'm in. And yeah, I mean, 3 years of doing it, fun. I always planned on getting a boat, maybe not that soon, but bought a boat, ran it, didn't run it in anything yet. So it was a good year.
And that's good.
You survived your first boat or two, nightmare boater. You stuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes that'll force you into buying a boat too.
It was me.
If you get somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, my first tournament, guy I was with was terrible. President of the club, big, nice skeeter.
No, they
Didn't
greased
catch
you
a
in
dang
that so
fish
you-
all day. Yeah, I got greased into it, and it didn't really work out. But no, I mean, I caught 5 fish that didn't measure, and here we are.
Yeah, you've come a long way in the last 4 years or whatever. Which leads us to kind of what we want to do for this episode. We kind of want to run through the 2025 season. Just make sure everybody knows where we fish, how many tournaments we fish, kind of let people know a little bit about what we did this year. Because it is a whole year. I mean, our season is long.
Yeah.
We started in March this year and we went all the way to the end of November.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big break in the middle, but like it's a long time to be fishing, and it's 2 tournaments a month, 3 tournaments a month. But I mean, all in all, it's 12 tournaments, 12 total plus the classic, which is the end of the year, like largest tournament. But this year we had 8 tournaments in like the Maryland, Virginia area. Some of the lakes we fish on are Virginia, North Carolina, right? Or Maryland, Pennsylvania. So you call them 8 in Maryland, PA, 4 in that Virginia kind of North Carolina corridor, more travel tournaments. But that was for a reason this year. We had an emphasis on more local tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, can you speak to that when we were kind of scheduling it at the beginning?
Yeah, we
Came out of a necessity, really?
when we as a group, the officers of the club determine the schedule every year, and the last several years before 2025, I think we had kind of gotten carried away, a lot of travel, and I think, we calculated it up and it was like 3,300 miles round trip to fish the season in 2024. And in 2024, we actually missed a tournament because we had a weather cancellation. And so that was one less tournament than normal. And it was still like the longest we've ever traveled. It was a lot. I
Yeah.
put a lot of miles on the truck that year.
Yeah. Well, it's not even the
Yeah.
travel tournaments where you go and you do multiple days or
Right.
multiple day tournaments. It was like a 1-day tournament to Deep Creek, or like I mean, that's a far drive from here for most people.
5-hour round trip.
Right. So for a 1-day tournament, I
Right.
mean, yeah, you're probably going to go up there and fish a couple days.
Well, I mean,
I practice.
When
You didn't.
I went and slept in my truck at the ramp the night before because,
Right. Right. But again, that's the whole reason
Yeah.
we had it kind of focused on a local schedule for 2025. I think we called it Local 25.
yeah, that was
It was what we needed to do. And, I think we saw, whether it was that factor or a couple other factors, we had people drop out of the club because it was too much. It was either too far or too much of a commitment, or, guys didn't know each other that well to go
Right.
on a 6-day trip with another guy that they,
that they don't know. Well, there's no requirement, right, that you have to fish everything. You can sign up and you can just fish one, if that's what you want to do. But
True.
the guys, they get into it and they want to go. You end because it's so much fun. We do a good job with the schedule, so the lakes and the rivers that we fish are like right at the right time. So the fishing's pretty good usually.
Sure.
So everybody wants to go, but then and they look back at the end of the season and they're like, man,
Yeah.
I burned a lot of. What did you? Like, I was away from home for a long time, and so
Right.
yeah, we had to reel it back in a little bit. And
Yeah.
so yeah, this past season we were much less, like I think more than 1,000 fewer miles on total. If you total up the round trip miles for the season, which was good, and we had a lot of good participation.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like such a grind.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be, that's something that we typically try to account for everything when we schedule.
Sure.
Right. Other tournaments, times of the year. That was one thing that we had never really looked at. And we kind of got away from ourselves a little bit.
Right.
Past several years.
Well, when you compared it to
hand.
all the other years too,
Yeah.
it was really like higher on the graph.
Yeah. It was like, it was like the spike in the graph.
Right.
Right. So, but no, in this 2026 schedule, we kind of had the same idea, and we're pretty close to 2025. So I think we've kind of reeled it back in a little bit to where it's a little bit more manageable if you were somebody that wants to, participate in all or most or even half of the tournaments. You're not driving all across the East Coast.
Sure. Or for somebody like me or you that was a co-angler, there's a reason you're a co-angler, right? Like for me, before I bought a boat, I couldn't afford a boat, and I didn't know where in my life I was going to be to fish these 12 tournaments. So having tournaments that are at Lake Anna, which is a little closer, or Potomac, 3 or 4 of them there, I mean, that's easier for a co-angler to get to, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's
a 1-day trip, 1-day drive.
It's the easiest thing in the world like if you want to go fishing in a boat, the easiest, cheapest way to do it is a co-angler in FOBA, right? So like my first year, second year, like I kind of started to figure out like, all right, I have nothing to do the weekend of October 20th. I don't really want to go fish, but what else am I going to do?
Right.
Like if the weather's going to be decent, I might as well go. Like I pay my $30. I hop in somebody's boat and they drive me around all day and I get to fish. So like, why not?
Yeah.
You can't
So,
beat it.
and then it's like, all right, whatever, July 30th.
Right.
I got something to do that weekend. I guess I can't fish that tournament. Like there's no negative impact. I'm not losing money. I'm not getting more money. It's just, yeah, I can't do that one, whatever. But
Yeah.
the next one I wasn't planning on doing it. Now I don't have anything to do that weekend. Yeah, I'm in. Okay,
Right.
cool.
Yeah. It's easy to be in and out. I think it's a week notification ahead.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you just got to be in a week ahead of time.
And then you're good. You hop in, you
Yeah.
pay, and you're good
And
to go.
even if you you never are going to lose anything. We're not sticklers for like, oh, you said you can't make it or whatever, right? Like as long as you don't leave the tournament director hanging without letting them know what's going on. I mean, you could call, if launch is at 6 a.m., you could call them at 5:59 and be like, hey, I can't make it.
Yeah.
And you'll
Which
get,
I've done before.
right.
And my kids are sick.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
who's in the hospital.
I mean,
like
like
I got to do.
yeah, life happens, man. And you'll get your money back.
Yeah.
And or you could roll it to the next turn. Like you're not going to be out of it, right? And then even if you were, like Nick says, $30.
Right.
Right.
But the other cool thing about that too is the fact that the way that it was structured, and we had 12 tournaments, 4 of them were pick your partner, right? So you get to travel with somebody that you know. The other 8 are draw tournaments, which means you're completely randomly drawn with a boater. So like you said, if you're somebody brand new or you're just hopping into the tournament, those 8 tournaments, you have the chance to get somebody really good or somebody really bad. It doesn't matter.
You're going to get somebody.
You don't need to know them, right?
Yeah,
Like, you're making it on a boat. You're going to get the fish. So.
Yeah, that's the biggest. Like a lot of team tournament trails are really popular everywhere, but like especially around here, it's tough to get started in a team trail because you got to know somebody, right? If you got a boat, you got to have a tournament partner that you know and that you want to spend a bunch of time with, right? And vice versa. If you don't have it's really hard if you want to fish a team tournament if you don't have a boat because if you don't know somebody, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
So in a group like ours, you pay your dues, you sign up for the tournament. I mean, you're on a boat.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and it's random too.
Yeah.
So you're not getting stuck with the same guy
Yep.
tournament after tournament. There's 12 instances where you get to be with somebody else, and not the same boaters sign up for every tournament either. Like you'll have guys that do half of them and you'll get a chance to fish with that guy. It's fun. And then the cost for them, like you said, is not prohibitive. It's $30 for a 1-day tournament and $40 for a 2-day tournament, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what lunch costs these days. So it's not like you can't get on a boat and go fishing for $30 if that's what you want to do, for that weekend. So that's pretty cool. And then the payouts for the tournament, those are structured around that buy-in, correct? So, and it's 100%. Like
we pay back 100%. Yeah, we don't. The Fish on Bass Anglers does not earn an income.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So it's 100% payback of entry fees and of dues. Right. Like the dues go to operate the club, but anything that's left over gets purged at the end of the season for the year-end banquet, and we pay for that. Whatever's left over, we buy tackle. It's raffle prizes and all that. So it's a net zero at the end of the year.
Right. Nobody's keeping anything or making any money off this. Again, going back to that kind of grassroots, like bottom level, like somebody that's never fished before isn't coming in and going, oh man, I got screwed this tournament, or like the director's taking a cut.
Right. Yeah. Nobody, you're not, if you're a new angler or somebody, you're not going to feel like you're financing somebody else's organization or somebody else's boat, right? Like it's all, it's 100% payback. I mean, in the tournament world, that's what guys look at. You look at a tournament and you're like, what's the payback percentage if you're looking at entering? And most of them are 80%. You go, oh, and 85%, that's a good payback. We're like, we're 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also, somebody that's fishing at this level or even at the next level that looks at a tournament like that and sees what the payback is, we're not doing it to make money.
No.
Right? Like, okay, $30 or $40 in. I mean, I actually probably got a $400 check this year, which was pretty nice. I'm sure you got one too. But like there's 80 people in the club. There's 50 boaters, 40 boaters. Maybe not that many.
We're 30.
Okay. At the max we were.
Yeah.
But again, you have the opportunity to make some money if you do well.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I think everybody's seen the like, the meme for the past couple years. It's like, $100 in gas, $50 in a tournament entry, $100 in baits, whatever.
Right.
And then it's like second place in my club tournament, I got $45. And it's like, and it's like meant to be like a joke against the guys that fish this stuff, but like really like no, that's kind of the point, right? Like we do this because we like tournament fishing,
Right.
and I hate to break it to everybody, but at every level you're losing money.
Yeah.
There's no level of tournament fishing that it's easy to make money in.
Unless you got sponsors, which
Right.
we don't.
Yeah.
Not on the podcast, not
Right.
fishing.
There's
Yeah. We
what,
want
50, 100 guys in the country that can make a living bass fishing right now.
And,
Like,
they're doing
maybe.
it. Yeah, probably not even that. They're doing it
And-
through
and those-
sponsorships.
yeah, those are the
and a
guys
lot of
that
their
are house
sponsorship money.
Right. Or the guys doing stuff like us that's really good at it,
Yeah.
doing the podcast thing or doing.
But all those guys have their pictures on merchandise and stuff,
Right.
right? Like it's it's the superstar level, right? It's not
what we're doing.
No.
It's like we're doing the opposite.
exactly. Yeah.
Like for the fun of it. Right.
Well, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of people, they might think that they want that, but then when they realize what those guys go through, they're never off,
yeah.
right? Like,
But
yeah, they
talk about
fish a
the
lot.
travel miles.
Right. Yeah.
Look at what those guys do.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Everybody's got a camper. Everybody's away from their family.
California to Florida to Texas
Right.
to Michigan, right? Like,
Right.
New
So
York.
yeah, literally everywhere, and you're on the road
Right.
between tournaments. Because what are you going to do? Fly a bass boat?
And then
No,
in between, you got to work outdoor shows, and
Yeah.
you got to go shake hands with 500 people. Guys like us, we're like, oh my gosh, like,
Right. Because we like them.
let me take a picture with you, right? You
Right.
got to do that 5,000
To
times.
tow 12, 13 hours and then shoot like 5
Right.
sponsorship videos.
Right.
That'll be fun.
Right. I mean, I think Susquehanna does their Bass Fest. That's
Mhm.
the day. It was today.
This
and tomorrow.
weekend, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they got like Ish Monroe, and they got some good names. I think they had Kevin Van Dam like last year or 2 years ago.
They had him a couple years ago because Wyatt and I went up there
Yeah.
to see him.
I mean, that's a fun thing to go to if you want to see a professional fisherman. Like, they're accessible. They're regular guys like us.
Right.
But
But even then, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, Kevin had to fly here all the way from Michigan
yeah.
just
To come to
just to fit in this little tackle shop.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of full tackle shop.
it was he's very personable, and I was grateful that he did it, but I kind of felt bad for him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Huh.
so
Is what it is.
but
And then you touched on it a little bit about like the a la carte style where, you can pick these tournaments that you want to fish in or whatever your schedule allows. For most of us, or for me, that means, when I can have a free weekend or when I'm not working or when the kids aren't sick or when, but you fished another trail as well last year, correct? Did you do Potomac teams?
I did a bit of it last year. The year before, when I was still a co-angler, I did like 3 full Potomac trails plus 10 FOBA tournaments, 11, something
Okay.
like that.
So you did, how many tournaments did you do in the Potomac teams plus the tournaments you did for FOBA?
I mean, I might have done 30 that year.
Okay.
Like it's,
I'm not anywhere
I was
close.
pretty much
Yeah.
every weekend, April through October.
Okay.
I had 2-3 weekends off maybe,
Yeah.
but
But that's also cool too, because it's not exclusionary, right? Like you're
Yeah.
able to go do those other tournament trails. You're not pigeonholed into just doing FOBA or we did FLW. Well, it was BFL.
Yeah.
It was FLW when we did it.
Yeah.
Now it's MLF.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you can do that and then come back to FOBA, or if you want to try the level above FOBA, like the semi-pro or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it, you can go do that. The reason that I did it and the reason I like doing that is because I got to do it as a co-angler. So I'm a boater in FOBA and I can be, big for my britches with these other 30 guys. But when I go to a 150 boat tournament,
Right.
put me on the back of the boat. I'm just there to learn, man.
Right.
Like, so you can play around with the levels of fishing and find what works for you, whether
Yeah.
it's 30 tournaments in the year, which to me is insane.
well,
Good job. Or, just the 2 or 3
Yeah.
local tournaments.
Well, you
just,
could fit them in, right? Like, if you don't have the time and all you could do is 6 tournaments, 6 FOBA tournaments is easy.
yeah.
If you want to fish 30 tournaments a year, it's easy to add 10 FOBA tournaments to it. Like the year that we traveled into the BFLs, I did a mix, and it was like we went to Smith Mountain, and then we came back, and then the next weekend we did a FOBA Gaston, and then we came back, and then the next weekend we had a BFL Current. So I was like back and forth basically to North Carolina like 4 weekends in a row,
Yeah.
and that was rough
Yeah.
travel wise, but I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it was fishing in the prime of the year, and I could still if I had the ability to fish all of those weekends, I could get the prime weekends for a straight month
Yeah.
on really good tournament lakes. So
Yeah. Yeah. And the scheduling that FOBA does is nice. And we touched on that a little bit. And in other episodes, we'll get more into how we schedule and all schedule and everything. But the nice thing about it is that there is this middle period that we put in there now.
Yeah.
So it's like we already know the fishing in August and September is not going to be great.
Right.
So let's just take it off anyway. And then
Yeah.
the weddings come up, and then the, you know, other obligations that you have,
Summer
family vacations, or your kids are out of school, or, you know, whatever, then it nicely fits back into where then you get back into it in the fall.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's tailored around not only that, but the other trails. Like he could fish his because his tournaments were on Sunday and ours are on, you know, Friday, Saturday, you know,
Right.
so or whatever it was. I don't
Oh yeah, I did that a few times.
know. Like
I
whole weekend of fishing.
Oh yeah, I drove straight back from Chickahominy, went to bed, woke up, fished the Potomac.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was easy because it wasn't my boat.
Yeah.
And you could do it, whatever, but it was easy as a co-angler. I'm just like, sure. you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
I'll just hop in the back of a boat for 2 days,
Yeah.
drive back up, hop in the back of a boat for 1 day. Here we are. And that's, you know, it's with us. It's if you want to do it and you can do it, you do it.
Yeah.
If you can't or you don't want to, there's no penalty.
Right.
You're just like, I ain't doing that one.
Right.
It's fine.
Well, that's
Nobody's mad at you.
right.
You don't lose. You get your money back.
That's
Cool.
the other draw to being a co-angler too, though. And that's the reason that I stuck with it. And that's the reason that some guys stick with it for 15 years and they're
Yeah.
still a co-angler, because it's easier, because you get to ride around on somebody else's boat. You know, you get to be there without having to make all the decisions that you have to make on the front of the boat, or, you know, any of this. So, I mean, with that being said, I think we can get into some of the highlights for 2025 and kind of let everybody know what we did this year and kind of the biggest fish, biggest bags, all, like, you know, participation, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So highlights participation wise, the biggest single tournament we had for boats was 24. So you guys said there was like 30 boaters. So 24 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And,
It's most of the boaters.
it was actually 3 times.
Nice.
So it was Lake Gaston, Lake Anna, and the Potomac. So you got the 2 locals and then the fun travel and the
24 at Gaston is, I mean, that's a 4-hour trip.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that speaks to how good that lake is, that everybody wants to fish it, but
Correct.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, to travel that many people and
Right.
all the accommodations and co-anglers as well. I mean, that's 24 boats. Think
Yeah.
about it, that's 24 co-anglers too.
Yeah.
So that's almost
50
people.
yeah.
Like, yeah, traveling to North Carolina. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Co-anglers was 16 this year. So kind of down, which we've seen since kind of COVID and beyond. There was this big boom and influx of people that wanted to get into fishing and kind of like use it as a hobby. I mean, I compare it to golf, where like I play a lot of golf too, but
Right.
it's one of those things where I'm not great at it. But over COVID, I was like, you know what? Like, let's try this. It's a new hobby.
Right.
We haven't been able to go outside for a year,
Yeah.
you know? So there's this influx, and that's kind of going away now, which we're cognizant of. I mean, you're on the board.
Right.
I'm an officer. You were an officer. I don't think you are this year, but like, we're cognizant of that and the fact that we lost co-anglers, and we need co-anglers because co-anglers turn into boaters.
Right.
There's 2 of us right here. I mean, you were a co-angler too, or did you
sure.
buy a boat? I was going to say you bought it really quick.
Yeah. But I did, a few.
Yeah.
But I think also the kayak fishing tournament, tournament kayak fishing is booming.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people who would have otherwise been like your regular club anglers as a co-angler are doing the kayak thing, right? Because kayaks are more affordable. You don't need a full, most of them aren't on a trailer. You don't necessarily need like a full size truck to tow it around. So, there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, just go straight to a boat.
Yeah.
They don't want to, they want to be in charge. And so they go straight to a boat. And then, a lot of people like to shoot straight for the top, and they don't want to start out at a club level, and they just want to go, if they can afford the highest entry fees, that's where they go.
Yeah.
Which that's great. And I'm sure it's a lot of fun, but I think a lot of those people will be better served starting out lower, because it's less of an investment.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to have fun when you've only got, $100 on the line for a weekend, when you count entry fees, gas, whatever, versus, $2,000
Right.
on the line on the weekend. So, that's that's kind of like what we try to sell, you know, when we talk to people around is.
Well, the other thing and again, this is our first time doing this podcast, so anything could happen. You led right into my next thing. So my question for you was going to be the environment that Fish on Bass Anglers has, and talking about some of these bigger tournaments where you're going in there. I mean, when we did them, I show up, I get a text message the day before the tournament that tells me who my boater is.
Yeah.
No idea who it is. In a field of 200 boaters,
Mm-hmm.
I get the guy's name and his phone number. And I got to text this guy and say, hey, where do we meet tomorrow morning? Like some gas station, and we'll grab a sandwich or something. You know, like in FOBA, you're getting, at least in my experience, the camaraderie of the people that also want to be there. But then, I mean, you can speak to it better than, and I can too, because when I joined FOBA, you might have fished those other tournaments ahead of time. I didn't. I got into FOBA to fish tournaments. So I fished on my own. I fished for fun. I fished from the bank. I did all this stuff. I'm not from here, but like learned how to fish here on my own a little bit. And then I joined FOBA to ride on somebody else's boat and learn about tournament fishing. So, I mean, you can talk to about the learning environment that FOBA like has. I mean, that's the draw.
Oh yeah, and that, like, I wasn't prepared for that at all. So like when I joined the club, I joined over the winter, and we had, you know, I went to like 1 or 2 meetings, and I'm just sitting there on my computer because it's still kind of COVID-y and we're Zoom meeting. So, you know, I don't know anybody. I don't know who these people who are talking other than it says their name under their face. And I'm just like, all right, you know, everybody's cool, whatever. Here we are. And then we did a team derby to start the season. So that was like the first time I'd really met anyone, was showing up to Black Hill at 6 a.m. in the dark and just seeing dudes with boats. And like, I fished with somebody that wasn't in the club, but so neither one of us knew anybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, we fished the tournament, all that happens. And at the end we get together and for weigh-in, which like I've done 100 weigh-ins, and it's like, you know, whoever got, you know, was 15 boats, a 15th place, this guy, this weight, what'd you catch him on? And I'm like, what the hell is that? What do you mean, what'd you catch him on?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm like, and then I, you know, figured out it's like everybody's going through and talking about their day. Whereas when I go fish the Potomac teams, border battle, all that, nobody, you know, there's a few guys that mumble something to each other here and there that are friends, but like that's as tight-lipped as it gets.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting a word of anything. It's like, oh, I saw that guy over here. I saw him at noon. He was over here in the quiet. So to see that, I was like, oh, like this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like everybody's, you know, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to learn something here.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's funny too, because I joined, I think 4 years before you did. So I think I was 2018 and you were 2022 or something like that. But even coming from 2018, it used to be more friendly and more sharing, I think. I think with the advent of like a lot of YouTube stuff and a lot of this stuff where like the secrets are getting out and people start to get kind of skittish about giving their juice up.
Yeah.
Like, not saying that guys in the club are doing it on purpose, but it's a lot more vague when you get back to the ramp.
Well, and also, you know, the idea of what we do is really more about it's like doc talk, right? Like it's not necessarily like tell me, you know, exactly where you went, how far did you cast, how deep did you fish, how many flakes were in your worm, right? Like it's not intended to be that specific. It's intended to be like, you know, I was out cranking points in the wind, right? And then as a fellow angler, you know, you're going, oh, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's sort of like this like continuous sort of like group learning type of thing where it's like you're not getting like specific information, you're getting like ideas, right? Like, oh, you know, Logan was fishing a spinnerbait on a riprap bank, like that makes sense,
Right.
or it'll be something off the wall and you'll be like, oh wow, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Right. And
That
so
happens
then
a lot too, where like,
Yeah.
then you're putting the puzzle together on your own.
Right.
Like you're not giving me all the puzzle pieces and saying like,
Right.
hey man, just put this together. It's like, you're giving me some and then I hear some from him and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, oh, you know what? Like,
Yeah, you're getting the puzzle pieces and you're putting it together.
Yeah.
You're not getting somebody to come in and drop the final puzzle piece in for you.
True.
You know.
True.
And it's subtle, but I mean, I think that's a big distinction because I think when you have people, and you know, especially, you know, guys like me that have been fishing tournaments for a long time, it's not that I don't want to share information with people, but I don't like the idea of just like a copycat type of thing. Like, tell me XYZ so I can just go copy XYZ.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of that now. I mean,
Yeah. Like it's kind of like, it's like the opposite of what it should be. Right.
Yeah.
Like you should want to figure it out yourself.
I mean, that's why I fish. That's what the
right. That's
part
why
of it is for me to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can give me a hint here and there and I can run with that.
Yeah.
But like the funny thing in fishing, and especially around here when you go on like a smaller, like Black Hill, right?
Right.
Like you're going to catch fish doing the same thing as everybody has for the last 20 years. Like you're going to do that. So for me, I'm usually stubborn and I'll go out and be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. So I try to do that. It doesn't work out well for me.
Yeah.
But like some places you can have an off the wall thing that happens and you just hit them that day.
Right.
And it's like, even if you gave me the bait that you were using, the place that you were going and you know, the way the fish were biting it, I still wouldn't go do the same thing. You're right. Like it just doesn't work that way.
I think so. One of my favorite things in like FOBA tournaments is when you get to a weigh-in, and it doesn't happen very often, but maybe once a year, every other year, there'll be a tournament. And there was one, I think 2 years ago in Black Hills where, you know, we all talk to each other. There's not really any secrets. Everybody knows all the baits and all the techniques, right? Like we've all been doing this long enough. We all know, right? It's not like we're inventing anything new. But one of my favorite things is so like in this tournament, I went out and I caught a bunch of fish on a drop shot, which is not a secret. It's probably the least secret thing about fishing on Black Hills. But, you know, just it was one of those things where like, oh, like this is what's working today. Like this is what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to grind it out on this. Caught some fish, did well. And it was a pretty good tournament. Well, we get to weigh in, and I mean, 90% of the people, it was like drop shot, drop shot, drop shot. And none of these guys are talking to each other. It's just everybody was out there and in their own way figured out the same thing and stuck with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like that was obviously the pattern of the day. And it's neat to see everybody figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's also, I like it because it's like, wow, like, you know, we got some good anglers in this club. Like they all figured it out, right? There was nobody sitting there, but like, well, dang, I didn't think of that.
Right.
Like,
right.
So
yeah,
that's really neat when you see that happen at the weigh-in. You're like, okay, you know, nobody's out there. We're not calling each other and being like catching on a drop shot. You throw it, right? It's they're figuring it out. It's like everybody's doing it in a vacuum and they're all coming up with the same conclusion. I think it's really neat when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of that lake and you know, big fish and big bags caught this year, I have some stats on the largest fish and bags we had this year. So the three largest fish, 7 pounds 2 ounces, 613, and 610. Those were all on the boater side.
Yeah.
Co-angler side was 6 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And just for some perspective there, the Maryland largemouth record is 11 pounds 6 ounces.
Yeah.
So like a 7 pound fish isn't that far off 11 pounds.
Big fish.
There's some big fish caught this year. The biggest fish in the history of the club is 8.2, I believe. But I mean, I caught the 6 pound 10 ounce fish this year. So like, I mean, that was the third biggest fish this year. So I'll brag on that one a little bit. And I mean, I had a great time when I caught that one. It was Chickahominy, so the James River down there, and it was something. Speaking of patterns and figuring them out, something that went through my head that I didn't consciously think that I was doing that until you said you were doing it too, which was throwing a buzzbait up on the shore.
Right.
And when I was
the
doing
tide
it,
was extra high, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When I was doing it, I was just like, oh man, like this grass has water in it.
Right.
I didn't think, oh, the tide is extra high, which you did. And you explained it in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I was catching them up there. But like where I was the day before and the water was like here, the water's all the way up here. It's in the stumps. It's in the trees. It's in the grass. So I was throwing a buzzbait out there and it just ate it. It was like the coolest fish catch. Not only is that the largest fish that I caught this year, it's the largest fish I've ever caught.
Nice.
And I caught it in a tournament. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It doesn't happen often. You usually catch them the day before the tournament.
Right. Like you did when we went down there before. But like, yeah, I mean, that's the cool part about it is you never know when you're going to catch that big fish. And there were a lot of them this year in the club. I mean, being the local tournament that we set up and the local schedule we had, you know, there are opportunities for people to catch these big fish anywhere. But the way the schedule was set up was conducive to catching those big fish. Like we did a great job.
You know, I think this area is not necessarily known for bass fishing. Like, when you think of bass fishing, you think of like, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Texas, right? Like it's definitely not those places. But I mean, if you take the winning bags from our tournaments and you compare it like nationally to tournaments, it's, 17, 18, 19, 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It's not far, those are expected tournament bags for anywhere in the country almost, outside of some special times of the year and special places, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, that benchmark, we're hitting that benchmark. And so it's kind of neat because it's not really known for it. And, we got to sit in traffic and drive a lot, but like, it's better than I think people give it credit for. Like we've got some really good fisheries around here.
Yeah.
And if you're like a bass fisherman and you're not out there taking advantage of that, like you might think like, man, it's tough to fish around here. Like, dude, get on the back of a boat or get in one of these tournaments and you'll see
I mean, again, that's how I started.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I came down, I'm from New Hampshire and I came down here and I was like, for 6 years that I lived here, I went to college here, but like I didn't fish.
Right.
And I was like, man, like I came from the woods. That's where you fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then my cousin was like, dude, the Potomac is right there. What are you talking about? And I'm like, you mean the one that comes out of DC? I'm like, I don't want to fish there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, that's one of the premier fishing destinations in the United States.
And
it's
used
right
to
here.
be literally in the DC city limits. Like it's not as good anymore, but I mean, you could still, when we were driving into here, we passed by a bunch of bass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
following the river
like,
all the way down.
We were even talking about it. I was like, there used to be a nice grass bed right there. I used to catch a bunch of fish. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, speaking on those bags too, I mean, I have the largest bags of the year. There's 20 pounds. So 20 pounds, 3 ounces, crack the 20-pound mark. 1914 and 19.6. One of those is yours. 1914. And then 18.6.
I appreciate you going to fourth.
You're number 4. You're number 4. You're not the top 3.
That was nice. That was nice.
But out of, all the anglers we have in the club, we have 2 of the 4, top 4 biggest bags here. I believe 3 out of those 4 came from Black Hill, right? Yours was in March.
Yeah, March Black Hill.
Yours was summer, July. And then Joe's was the other one.
Joe's was May.
Yeah. 20 pounds on Black Hill again.
Yeah. All of them were, because the other 19 wasn't that Black Hills. It was just second place because Joe won.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. I think it is.
Got to go to fishonabanglers.com.
I think it is. I think all 4 were Black Hills. I think.
Okay.
And actually, I bet if you looked at it, it would be more than 4
on Black Hill.
on Black Hill. The top, yeah.
I mean,
top.
It
overall.
pumped out.
it probably has the big co-angler bag too.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anybody else
Co-angler
did
this year
16.
was 16s. Yeah, we had 2 bags in the 16s. Those ones I don't know where they were. Didn't write them down, but again,
I think that was Black
Grant with me.
I think it was. Oh, Wayne?
Yeah.
Oh, they were co-angler from that.
Yeah,
Ed was like
16 too.
2 ounces behind it or
Okay.
something in the same tournament.
So we're like 6 for 6 on the 6 biggest bags came
Yeah.
out of there. I mean, that's again, we're doing this the right way. We're leading into the next discussion
Yeah.
here. We have 2 lakes. Those 3. So the biggest fish, right? Your 7.2,
Mm-hmm.
your 6.14, whatever it was. My 6.10 was not there. But then the 4th largest fish all came from Lake Anna.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
The biggest bags came from Black Hills.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 lakes there. One with the 3 biggest fish, one with the 3 biggest bags.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Is that because people know those lakes? Because I don't know. I don't catch those bags.
Yeah.
I got lucky with the one big fish and it wasn't even there.
Right. Well, and Chickahominy is known for big fish too.
Sure. But
I mean, Lake Anna is a good lake. In the last 5 or 6 years, it's really gotten a lot better.
yeah.
The mega bags out of Anna are usually in the wintertime. And so that's outside of the typical tournament season. But there's always Anna has always been a place where you could catch a giant. But like one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then to get up to those 17, 18, 19 pound bags, you need 5 big ones.
Right.
Black Hills is a place that has had its ups and downs, but I mean, for the people that know how to fish it, it's got the fish.
So that was going to be my question. Is it a time of the year thing, which doesn't really make sense because your March
Yeah.
Joe's May and you're July, right? So like time of the year, I mean, there's big fish there. You're going to catch them.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is history on the lake. I mean, you fish there a lot. I haven't. I live 15 minutes from there. I guess you do too.
It's your fault.
But how many years have you fished there? Because when I go there, I catch 1 or 2 fish. Like it's hard for me.
I think I started there in like 2012, and I caught a fish within 5 minutes of being there, and I didn't catch fish there the next 4 times I went after that. And then I didn't go till probably 2015 because I was like, this place sucks. And I wasn't living here, but also I was like, why am I going to go there? I don't catch fish there. And then it was going back, 15 and on. I learned more about fishing that I could translate to there. I started fishing the Potomac. Everything's in 5 feet of water or less.
Sure.
That's not Black Hill.
Yeah.
It can be at times in specific places, but that's not how you fish there most of the year. So generally, it's not how I fish there most of the year, but I learned some stuff, and then I learned the lake, and I learned electronics a little bit to the point where I could see depth changes, contours, this and that. And it's like, all right, there's this in these 5 places. If I'm catching them here, I should be able to catch those other 4.
Sure.
So I think with Black Hill, it's a lot of learning the lake, how it fishes at that time of year. Like I've caught fish there. I think they closed December 20th or something. I've caught fish there December 15th, like good fish, decent day.
Sure.
But with there, if you learn the lake and, the conditions aren't terrible, you can catch fish. I've gone out there plenty of times and not caught anything. And recently, I go out there every March and suck for like the first 4 days I go fish there, but I can't fish anywhere else. It's easy. And I'm just want to do something. But I think with Anna, it's a combination of a lot of the guys in the club know Anna. I don't know Anna. I've fished there 4, 5, 6 days in my own boat, and maybe 20 days total ever in the last couple of years, and that's it. But
sure.
A lot of guys in the club know Anna very well, and Anna's in a good swing right now.
Yeah.
It's a place you can catch fish year-round with a group of guys that know it well. There's going to be big fish. There's going to be good bags.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can go there not knowing anything and catch a decent limit, it's got to be good.
Yeah. Well, that I mean, again, leading into the next question here would be the grass and the health of the fisheries, the conservation piece, which you have through the Black Bass Committee, the way that we release our fish. Like, we had 2,015 fish caught last year. So we broke the 2,000 mark as a club, and that's everywhere, all the lakes.
Right.
And that sounds like a pretty big number, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only 26 fish out of all those die. So like our mortality rate is 1.29% for the season. So like the fish care that we take into account has to be doing something to, make these fish grow bigger. The grass, I think, is another thing on Anna or other places that, people are taking conservation on the Potomac seriously, and grass is growing.
Mm-hmm.
This year it didn't grow really great.
Right.
It's year to year, right? So does that factor into these bags as well?
So I think Anna is a special case because of the power plant there. Historically, Anna has not really had any grass, what we typically think of as grass. It's got water willow up on the banks, but I mean, that only comes out to a few feet. But like the last couple of years, there's been big grass beds of hydrilla, like especially in the lower end of the lake. And, a lot of fish got caught in there. And any bass fisherman is going to say that that's a good thing. But the lake associations down there have already started spraying chemicals to kill it and stuff like that. So, I don't think it's going to be very long lived, unfortunately. And, that's one of the things that I think working with the DNR is every single person on that committee. Now remember, Anna's in Virginia, so we don't have any say in that, right? And Virginia, while Virginia does their, Department of Game and Fish or whatever, is very good. So this is nothing against them, but like if this were something that was happening in Maryland, right? If let's say they were going to spray grass at Black Hill or something, the advisory committee, I guarantee you every single member of that committee, and there's, I don't know, 12 anglers, they'd be like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, figure something else out.
Right.
Right. Don't, nobody in their right mind should ever think that putting chemicals in the water to kill something that's living is not going to hurt other things that are living. Right. No matter what they say. Right. We've all seen it, and we know that they do it, and they say, well, it doesn't harm the fish, whatever. Anybody that's ever fished a lake after it's been sprayed for grass will tell you how many dead fish they've seen, how it literally smells like a dumpster. Like, it's bad. But having the forum there to where, if we say that we don't want it, it doesn't mean that they're going to do it. But the fact that they have an advisory committee shows that they're at least going to listen. Right. I think we all know how government works, and, they're going to do what they're going to do sometimes. But it's encouraging that at least in Maryland, actual bass tournament, and not all of them are tournament anglers, but actual bass anglers, whether they're tournament anglers, whether they're kayak anglers, whether they're just like avid recreational anglers, at least have a set, they at least can voice their opinion other than, the comment period or whatever that happens that, probably nobody reads. So,
Right.
So that's encouraging. I think, Anna being the power plant lake that it is, and it was pumping out good fish before the grass, it's pumping out good fish with the grass. I think if they succeed in removing it, I think it'll still be good. I think that we're very lucky that it's going through an upswing right now, and that's why we're fishing there 3 times this year. It's why we fished there 2 times last year. Like, we need to go there while it's good, because we saw this with Black Hills too. When the lakes are good, they're really good. It doesn't last forever. Like, it'll come back to earth, and it'll average back out to like its average self eventually. It's just not sustainable long term. So
Sure.
Have fun at Anna for the next few years while you can.
Yeah.
And it's it's not like it's going to be a bad lake, but like, make sure I'm glad that we got it on there 3 times for 2026, because we're going to try to take every advantage of these lakes, like when they're good.
Yeah. So if you want to catch these big fish, and if you want to fish in these tournaments, we got 3 of them this year.
Yeah.
Again, fishonbassanglers.com, sign up, and you can join us out there.
I think every year for like 15 years, there's been at least a 6-pounder weighed in at Anna in a Fish on Bass Anglers tournament.
Yeah.
Somebody.
It's a street.
Like at least a 6, sometimes a 7.
Yeah. Well, like Brian has what, 714?
Yeah, 714. I think as a
coin,
like last year had 7.2 or something like that
too.
So like, there's 50 guys, or you got a 1 in 50 shot of being the guy that hit this.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's leading into the next discussion, which is going to be Angler of the Year. If you want to come out and catch those big fish, you can catch one like I did and just get lucky. And I think I came in like 3rd in that tournament. So like
you had a good tournament.
I think you were 2nd.
Chickahominy,
yes. It was close, right?
Yeah.
But I did have a good tournament, which I string together every once in a while. But for that Angler of the Year, you have to be consistent throughout. You can't just catch that one big fish with Anna and hang your hat on that for the year. So I don't know the answer to this. How do Angler of the Year points work? I know you accrue them, and I know if you go to the meetings, you get points, and I know if you fish in the tournaments.
Well, not meetings anymore, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're fishing in the tournament. You get points based on
how you finish.
How you finish,
right? It's it's like a standard performance based. So if you win a tournament, you get 50 points. And every place after that is one less. So 50 for first, 49 for second, 48 for third, all the way down the line. And it's cumulative for the year. There's 12 tournaments, like you said, and you count your best 10, right? So, and a little bit different than like dropping your worst 2, because that could mean that you like do 6 tournaments and drop 2, right? So if you do 6, you just count your 6, right? If you do 10, you count your 10. If you do 12, it's your best 10. Right. So you kind of get 2 mulligans, right? Throughout the season. So what basically what it boils down to is that you've got to be on them every tournament.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good anglers in the club. And it's not enough to just come in and weigh in a limit. Like you can't have a bad day, right? Or you'll be in a hole, right? Like even with the best 10, right? If you have a bad day, then you've just burnt that day.
Yeah.
And so, there's very little room for error. But yeah, it's fairly standard in, tournament fishing, right? It's 1 point for each place. It's meant to be tight so that there's no, like, going back to what you said, if there's a big jump from first to second, or, you have 5 points or 10 points in between, you win a couple tournaments. I mean, you could be out there ahead and just kind of ride on that, and you can have a couple good tournaments and then just coast because you get those extra points. But since it's just 1 point, I mean, this year, Chris and I, man, I mean, it was like every single tournament, I was 1 ahead of him, and then he was 1 ahead of me. And then it's like, then I have a bomb and he's 10 ahead of me. And I'm like, well, now I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so, it's, you got to show up every time.
Yeah. And it's a little different on the co-angler side for the AOI. So you and I have both been in that race. I think the first year that I fished as a co-angler, I came in 4th. And this was before I had kids, and I fished every single tournament, and I was out there, and so just being out there, and meetings did count when I was there.
Right.
So like just for showing up, I was able to accrue enough points to get 4th place.
Right.
I didn't come in the top 3, but you've gotten 4th, 3rd, and 5th consecutive years on the co-angler side. How do you find success on the co-angler side? Is it the same? You just have to be consistent through all of them, or are you just powering through and hoping that somebody else doesn't show up? Or
Yeah, I mean, it is consistent, but it's like step 1 is showing up, right? Like when I was looking at it, when I was a co, it was, you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are going to fish all of them. Then you've probably got that same amount of guys that are going to fish enough of them and do well to be in it. So like I don't know that I might have had 10. Like I think my first year I might have only had 9, but it was kind of a low participation year to where I was able to get in there because not everything, there's only maybe 3 guys that fished them all. And then I just did well enough in the other ones. But it's showing up, and then it's catching a fish.
yeah,
If you don't catch a fish, you don't get any points. So
Right.
it's like, man, I got to get 1 12-inch fish somehow today.
yeah,
And then it's like, all right, cool. I showed up. I'm getting at least 35 points, something like that.
right,
But then, yeah, if you actually want to be in it, yeah, you have to figure it out. You have to see what your boater's doing. You have to adjust. You have to see what they're not doing and maybe do that instead. But at the end of the day, it's the willingness to stick with it. Like my first year, I think it was at Chickahominy. I was like, where there's 1-day tournament. Then halfway through the day, I had no fish, and Zach was my boater then, and he had probably caught 20 fish. And I caught fish. I practiced with him. I practiced with him, and I caught fish. But that day, I couldn't do anything. And I'm sitting there in the back of the boat, why am I here? Why did I drive down here? Why did I spend this money? It's hot, then it's thunderstorming. I can't decide what clothes to put on or take off. I'm either sweating or wet from getting rained on. And I have no fish.
yeah. This is the fun side of the fishing.
Yeah.
This is the
And I don't know what it was. Like, I think I could have gone on a golf trip that weekend. So even worse, it's
You were
like,
already pissed off.
what am I doing? Like, I'd have paid the golf money to not be here right now.
Yeah,
And then, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, yeah, but we started the morning. The tide was almost high. So we went to almost high, and now we're starting to get low. Like, it's good at low. So I just need to exist. Like, I got to try some stuff, maybe get a bonus fish. I will catch fish at the end of the day. And I caught 4 little fish, in the last hour of fishing. But I mean, that's the difference between 0 points, and I probably don't get 4th in AOI. And I mean, I got like 12th in that tournament or something, which is nothing. But, that's 38 points instead of 0.
Right.
Without those 38 points, I'm not top 5. I'm not getting an award. So it's the mental capacity to stick with it when everything sucks.
yeah,
Because a lot of times the co-angler, it will suck.
yeah.
we don't. I've never had a bad boater where I'm like, man, I cannot stand being with this dude. I never want to fish with him again. I'd rather stay home and pull my toenails out. But that happens in other tournament trails and other, clubs. But for us, it's just like, man, if the fishing sucks that day, that's what separates it. Okay, the fishing sucks. Am I just going to sit in the back of the boat, eat through my food and, text people? Or am I going to fish? I mean, I'm out here to fish, pay my money. For me, I like fishing enough that I'm like, might as well fish, dude. Like, you're stuck here anyway. It's not like you get dropped off and drive home.
Yeah. Well,
so go fish.
I'm the same way, even on the front of the boat. Like, as a boater now, I have my boat, and there are days where I'm like, I shouldn't even be out here. Like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm ready to go.
Well, that's the difference in tournament fishing. Right? If you're just out fishing and it's terrible, you're like, put on the trailer.
Let's go.
I'm gonna go get a beer and
yeah.
You're like, I'm only 2 hours into this day. I still got 6 more hours.
Right. But that's the side that I know, and that's the side where I've been and you've been. We got a guy over here who's never on that side. So I mean, just in 2025, you won the first tournament of the year, which was March 29th. You came in second 3 times: Spring Gaston, Potomac, and Chickahominy. And the Potomac and Chickahominy were back to back in June. Yeah. You went from June to September. You had 5 tournaments. All of them were top 5 finishes. So your 2025 was incredible. You ended up getting second,
right? Yeah,
in AOI. So like all of those accolades and all those tournaments that you had, and that sounds like a great season. I mean, you lost by I think 20 points.
I mean, it was one of the best seasons I've ever had. I just, Chris is just a good fisherman.
I mean, this is the club too. There are good fishermen.
Yeah, it's
like, you can come out and get beat.
So, but I really enjoy the fact that it's fun. The competition level is really fun, but it's not like there's the haves and the have-nots, right? Like man, everybody is good.
Well, anybody can win a tournament too.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some of the guys that don't consistently do well, and they'll come in with a bag and be like,
and
they want that one.
Let's go back, right? Like 15, 20 years ago, right? Club smaller, fishing is different. Like, we all get better through the years, right? Like there's a lot of guys who've been in the club that long, and man, you give a guy 20 years experience, he's obviously going to be better.
Right.
So you go back 20 years and he's 20 years worse. Back then, it could have been you show up to every tournament, you probably are going to win Angler of the Year as long as you catch a fish in every tournament, right? It's not literally just being there, right? Like you're still going to have to beat it out. But we've grown. The fishermen in the club have gotten better and better and better every year, and then we add people like Chris is a more recent addition to the club, and I mean he was great coming into the club.
Yeah,
and he was
already a good fish,
right? And he's gotten better when he's here. And when we fish, I mean, there's both of you, there's Chris, there's Joe. Like I could name 15 guys at any lake that we go to, and I'm like, that dude could beat me on this lake today.
Yeah,
and so it's motivation to never be like resting. Right? Like you always have to be trying, you always have to be on, you always have to assume that like you're behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fish with that mentality.
Right.
Like you don't,
even when you have a good day, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds, I think if somebody's listening, somebody that's not fishing it and they're like, man, so if you have, 16, 17 pounds in the well and you think that you're behind, that kind of sounds like it's not as much fun. And like, if just from a pure fishing perspective, if you're not into tournaments, like maybe so, but the competition side of it, I think is what all of us are drawn to, like constantly trying to get better, like trying to figure out one more thing. Well, how can I get one more bite? How can I catch a 4-pounder instead of a 2-pounder?
Take those ounces out or
right
out. If
like
you're good.
Like how can I get 30 more casts in?
Right.
Like those are the things that I really like, because most of the time, you don't succeed in that, right?
Yeah.
So the times that you do, it's like, I mean, there's no better feeling than when you're in a tournament and you're like putting the pieces together and then you hit that home run.
Yeah.
And you catch that 5-pounder and it puts you up over the top. And then you like, I mean,
well, it's a mindset thing too, right? It's not just going out and being a good fisherman on the lake.
Yeah.
Like you got to move around. You got 8 hours and you got to use them up somehow. But even me just sitting here talking to you and listening to you, like, I can tell why you're good at fishing and why you do. Like I'm learning sitting here, right? And again, I haven't tournament fished for that long, but that's what separates the people that just show up from the people that come in high plate AOI.
Well, and it's nice because if you're somebody that doesn't have the experience, you come in, and if you're a co-angler, dude, you'll get in the boat with Chris or me or you or Nick.
Correct.
Right. And basically you get a front row seat to somebody that's an experienced tournament angler. Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But going back to, like, you know, you just said all that stuff. Like, I had a great year, and at the end of the year, I'm like, man, I had a good year this year.
Yeah.
There is an aspect to that, you know, I injured myself, so I didn't fish the final 2 tournaments. So I didn't get my mulligans, right? So that is my one caveat.
I was going to say, you had 10 tournaments.
Yeah.
You didn't use your
I had a little bit of extra metal in my shoulder that I didn't have at the beginning of the season.
It'll teach you to ride bikes.
Yeah. Right. So, but even so, those 10 tournaments, I mean, that's some of the best fishing that I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm not, it's funny, like, a lot of, I'm like, I feel like I should be, like, disappointed, but I'm not, like, because I know the tournaments where, you know, I lost ground, right? I had a bad day on Anna in the spring, and Anna is a lake I know really well.
Yeah.
Right. For me to only come in with 10 pounds in April on Anna, I mean, that's bad.
Yeah.
So like that right there, I'm like, I didn't deserve to win. Right. Like,
right.
I flopped there.
Right.
And so, that reflection is like, okay, well, next year when we get there, like, I got to make sure I don't do that again.
Right.
You know? So,
but the consistency thing there is there too. Like, you've been in the club, like I said, since 2001. That's, do the math quick, it's like 16 years longer than I've been in the club.
Yeah.
So you're going to laugh at this. I laughed at it when I looked it up. 10 out of the last 14 years, you've either come in first or second place in AOI. That's ridiculous. Like, that's like over the top. And that's not just because you showed up. Like, we just went over it. Like, that's because you're a good angler. Like,
thank you.
That's cool. Like, you know, and again, that's the reason that I joined the club, is because there's somebody like you in it. There's somebody like Chris in it. There's somebody like Joe in it. There's always going to be somebody better than me. I'm not going to show up and be the best one all the time, unless, you know, you're pretty good. But you came in second this year, you know, so like, there's always going to be somebody that's pushing you.
It wouldn't be fun.
Great. Yeah.
If you showed up and you're like, I'm the best guy, and it's just a cakewalk, like, it wouldn't really be that much fun. I feel like.
I mean, there are other clubs and other trails you could do if you want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah.
If you want,
well, that's why we
want to come to FOBA.
That's why we don't fish with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to come to FOBA and Logan will kick your teeth in. Like, come on over. Like,
it's the whole club, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. And you know, I'm making that joke of how well you've done. It's the truth. It's on our website. It's in the data.
Yeah.
But like you said, anybody can win on any given day.
Yeah. Well, and also too, like, you know, we say this is unprofessional angling, right? And it's kind of funny because it's like guys like me, you know, a lot of us, like, we kind of like set our life up around fishing, even though that's not what we do to make money, right? Like,
right.
My career path, a lot of the things, like, you know, for forever. I mean, I just got my first truck like a couple years ago that was like actually a nice truck that wasn't just an old beater work truck that, you know, had crank windows and no air conditioning, right? Like, you know, I'm 40 years old and I'm finally now in like a real vehicle because, you know, I spent my money on a boat.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
make your choices.
So, you know, setting your life up to be able to fish like this, even if it's not like, you know, even if you don't have like the glamour of like, I've got a dozen sponsors and I'm fishing in the Bassmaster Opens or I'm trying to make the classic. Like, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Right.
Right.
But like, you know, more and more as things get more expensive, as things get more and more out of reach, it's like, you know, this is where it's been at the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I get the competition.
Yeah.
It's not any, you know, dude, if I go out and I'm competing against, you know, both of you guys, Chris, Joe, you know, Sam, Greg, like I said, you could list off 15, 20 guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's an accomplishment.
Well, there are plenty of
against those guys
other,
because they're doing the same thing,
right?
You know,
there are plenty of other levels that you could fish to as well,
right?
Like, you could be off doing something else, or one of the other guys that does really well in our smaller club,
right?
could be off doing something on the national level.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you want to get in, where you're comfortable, what you like doing.
Yeah.
And for me and the level of angling that I'm at, this is the best learning experience. This is where I can compete the best level of competition. And, you know, I'm glad I found it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think, you know, you, me, Joe, you know, there was a group of us, we did the BFLs a couple years ago. And I mean,
yeah, the higher level. Yeah.
yeah, like we held our own. I mean, we had some,
Yeah.
we all cashed checks in a 200 bow fields.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a trophy right there.
I was going to say, I came in 6th place
Yeah.
on the co-angler side, right?
I mean,
Like, I'm not a boater, but
Right. And, you know, not to, you know, I think most fishermen like us are kind of humble. We don't like to kind of talk about ourselves, but like, I think as a group, we showed out pretty well. But I'll be honest with you, man, I had more fun fishing the FOBA tournaments that year.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those were fun. That experience is great. And I think anybody that's a tournament fisher should try it just for the experience. But like, you know, dude, man, we cash checks in some of these tournaments. We all cash checks. And like our net on just the entry fee, not lodging, gas, all the other stuff, just the entry fee was like less than $100
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
And you're like, dude, I could have got third in FOBA and only had to beat 15 guys and would have
You
net.
didn't have to be $200.
Right, would have net more money.
More.
I mean, dude, we fished those fields. There's Bassmaster Classic champ. There were guys in those fields that we fished that had like hundreds of thousands of dollars in
Yeah, career winnings. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
like-
and multiple boats
Yeah,
won. And
like literal professional,
Right,
right? Like,
right.
and so, but I had more fun
Yeah.
fishing FOBA.
Yeah. And honestly, the 2025 season really, I think, was scheduled well. We had the opportunity to catch fish. Everybody in the club had a good time. That's why we copied it for 2026. But
Yeah.
I mean, just wrapping up the 2025 season there, you know, that's the recap of the whole thing. That's what we did. That's where we went. That's why people continued to come back to the club. And honestly, that's why we're doing, you know, this podcast, to get that notoriety out there. And, you know, our website is fishonbassanglers.com. Everything on there can lead you to joining this club. Everything on there is data. You know, over the last, you put so much data on the website of the fish catches, of the mortality rates, of all this conservation stuff that the club does. You can visit fishonbassanglers.com and learn about fishing. You can also sign up. You can also fish with us. So that's why we're doing this podcast. I mean, that's why we're trying to get this information out there. And really, that's where we leave the first episode. So.
Yeah. We think more people should know about us.
Yeah.
Is why we're trying to do this.
That's
like,
the entire reason
Yeah.
for doing this. There's this level of angler that is okay with doing this every
Right.
other weekend and having a good time with the guys that are in the club. So
good job.
that's it for episode 01, whatever you want to. I think we should break there. So,
Yeah. You probably need to take a break from talking.
I do. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was fun.